Boom, 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 boom. The sound of a beating heart. The sound that can bring so much joy and so much gladness. Imagine you're back at high school. Your team is in the championship game. Seconds left on the clock. Your teammate throws you the ball. You take the game-winning shot. At the moment the ball is released, time seems to slow down. Your heart begins to beat and race. The sound of your heartbeat is louder than the roar of the crowd. You hear the buzzer go off. Boom, you won the game. Now, imagine you're in a hospital room. One of your loved ones has terminal cancer. You're holding their hands, telling them just how much you love them. They look at you, they tell you they'll be with you in spirit always. They close their eyes and breathe their last breath. You take a look at the heart monitor. Once filled with rhythm beat, is now flatlined. At this moment, heart health becomes more than just a gimmick of Cheerios. Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Reed, and I'd like to discuss with you my journal article that deals with EKG interpretation and life-saving diagnosis. First, I would like to discuss exactly what EKG interpretation actually is, because this journal article for EKG abnormality, what are the life-saving diagnoses, will have little or no effect on you if you don't first understand what an EKG actually is. Then I would like to go into detail about two of the cases, more common cases discussed in this journal article. The first being syncope associated with fever. The next being cardiomyopathy associated with left-sided heart failure. This journal article goes into detail about how you actually interpret an EKG rhythm strip. This strip, a professional can determine if your heart is pumping efficiently just by looking at the rhythm, the shape, and the intensity of each beat on an EKG rhythm strip. Syncope and fever is a very common diagnosis among people. An EKG should be done on every patient that has a syncope episode so that you can rule out diagnosis like this one in case number 2. This particular patient was born with a heart defect called Burkitt syndrome. And this syndrome, it affects the cardiac ion channels in your heart, which makes the patient more susceptible to a heart condition called VFib, which is an arrhythmia that could lead to cardiac arrest. So by diagnosing this patient was able to receive medications like metoprolol and verapamil that actually saved this patient's life. Next, chest pain or chest pressure. It's very common in Americans and oftentimes is overlooked and misdiagnosed. Well, excellent EKG interpretation on this patient revealed that this patient had left-sided hypertrophy, which is a growth in the heart muscle on the left side. So the left ventricle, its job is to pump out oxygenated blood into all the heart's organs, body tissues in order for it to be perfused. So, when the left side ventricle becomes damaged, now the blood begins to back up on the circulatory system. This is just like when you're running on a highway and it's a wreck and now all the traffic backs up. Well, the blood starts to back up and it backs up in the lungs. Now you can have respiratory problems, trouble breathing, and if not treated, it can actually lead to complete failure of your left side of your heart. And so now you go into cardiac arrest because now your heart can no longer beat properly and perfuse your organs. So this patient was able to go into the hospital, and through excellent EKG interpretation, now they were treated and their lives were saved. So with that being said, in conclusion, we can understand that the heart is one of the most important organs of your body, and it literally beats to the beat of its own drum. Every beat of your heart is important. How long it beats and the way it beats determines whether you live and die. This article for EKG abnormalities and what are the life-saving individuals shed light on some common illnesses that are really life-threatening and are often overlooked because people don't understand EKG interpretation. Thank you. My name is Courtney Reed, and this is my speech.